Hello. I know it's another car video which shows a distinct lack of imagination on my part, but it just occurred to me to do a little video about validation. I mean, validation is just another way of saying wanting to be liked, wanting to be accepted, wanting to belong. And we've spoken about this before, but it's an ongoing topic for many of us. And I think, often we look at these things on the surface, don't we? And it might manifest even in something as simple as wanting likes on a post like this, on a social post. And then it goes deeper in terms of wanting to be accepted within a social circle, within a work dynamic setting. Relationships are the juicy areas where beliefs start to really show up. And you guys might be familiar, as I very much am, with that desire to want to be accepted by others and validated. Or we might use different words for it, like people pleasing. But it shows up, and it often is in a hypervigilance around checking all the time that everything is okay, that there are no threats to the identity. And that's exhausting, absolutely exhausting, and not a particularly healthy way to live in terms of to flourish as human beings. But that conditioning can be really deeply embedded, and it often starts at some point, who knows when, in childhood, where particular patterns of behaviour around having to be somebody in order to be accepted might have showed up. We often can't even pinpoint what that might be or how it was perceived, but suddenly there was this behavioural pattern that made sense at that time, that we had to do a certain thing or be a certain thing in order to feel liked and accepted and loved, I guess. And that creates this belief in the heart, that's held in the heart, around needing to be accepted, which means that ultimately there can be a perceived sense of lack here in order to believe that others need to fill that to be okay. And it's around worthiness. And we might hear, I mean, there's lots of glib phrases around you can't be all things to all people. In the end, you've just got to please yourself, that kind of thing. And they might be known intellectually, but you've got to feel it here. You've got to know it. It has to be really deeply known in the heart for it to actually create a shift. And to sort of recognize and be very honest about witnessing that behavior in yourself, and seeing the identity desperately urging to feel that sense of wanting validation. And there is no amount of validation that would ever create a sense of wholeness. That's the crazy thing. And the mind will tell you otherwise. The mind will keep saying, just make it okay in this situation, and then maybe that one, and then, oh, we need that person to like us too. And it's deliberately meant to be never ending from an egoic point of view, because the ego comes inherently from a place of lack. It is the voice of not enough often, and it's understanding that that's not the voice of who we are. Who and what we are precedes that. It's before all of that. And when we fall back into the knowing of our wholeness, then that's the shift. The shift comes not from acquiring different thoughts and repeating things. That might help, but intellectually it's only going to go surface level. We've got to create it, see it, know it here, realize it here, in order to properly feel it and understand it and go, yeah, do you know what? I am whole. You're whole. We're all whole. We don't need somebody else to make us feel whole, because that's perpetually, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And that sounds brutal to the ego, to think, stop it. Just stop trying all the time to make everybody like you, because that's not where it's at. Where it's at is here. So it's an invitation to come back, come back, come back, rest in that space, see it for yourself, and notice that that is where the shifts come from. Have a lovely day.